Okie dokie. I think I'm recording. Yes. Okay. So, welcome, guys, to the Nourish to Flourish webinar. Looks like we've got quite an intimate group tonight, which is all good. So, yeah, really pleased to be sharing this information with you. The Nourish to Flourish principles are the principles that I've been using to help many clients overcome their health challenges as well as reach their goals, and it's helped me massively within my life as well. And yeah, this the system and this material comes from a lot of it coming from my own challenges and actually getting it wrong in many different respects, which I'm going to actually kick off by just sharing a little bit about my story and what led me into working with people in this way. Because I find that a lot of people who are working within the health field, holistic health, or any other kind of alternative medicine, everyone tends to have been on a bit of a journey, which leads them into what tends to lead them and cause a gateway into what they're doing now, which has definitely been the case for me. So, yeah, I guess like my story starts when I was a kid and I had a number of quite difficult things happen at a very early age. And these difficult things um, caused me to take on a belief that a fundamental belief that the world wasn't safe, and I wasn't safe within the world. People weren't safe, and this caused a lot of stress, and actually continued to cause a hell of a lot of stress well into my adult years. And you know, sometimes I still am wrestling with this, although it's in a much better place. But essentially, difficult things that happened at an early age gave the belief that the world's not safe. So I grew up as quite an introverted kid, um, uh, quite a fragile sense of self, and definitely preferred my own company. You know, I'd be in my element, like playing computer games and just building airfix models all summer. This was like my happy place, and um, everything was fine. I was kind of like quite shy, but yeah, all was cool. And then I had another very difficult set of things happen in my early 20s, which again reinforced this belief that actually the world around me isn't safe. So what this created was a deep sense of hypervigilance, and a deep sense of stress. You know, I'd be looking for attack, left, right, and center. So this over time, and look, with what I know now, I see how much it was impacting me and impacting my health, due to essentially being in a chronic stress, chronic fight or flight state due to being in relationship with others, and my perception of how what being in relationship with others meant. So after these difficult things happened, I very much picked myself up. I got into health and well-being. I got into training and started doing loads of mad triathlons. I did an Ironman competition, and then ended up cycling through Mexico, which was like a beautiful medicine for me at that time. And yeah, the new, more empowering belief was that you know, I can get myself out of where I am, and I am able to do that, and I don't need anyone else. I don't need anyone else, and this kind of fed into this like not wanting to be in relationship. Plus, I'll just do it all myself, which then kind of created this hyper independent way of being, which, like I said, served as a medicine for a time until actually this actually served as more isolation from people like later on, which caused more stress within relationships. So now this kind of streak of hyper independence and doing and action, which again was a medicine, eventually actually turned into a poison. Because when I then created a gym business, called Gymbia, which was it was beautiful. We had a really lovely space, and for a guy who like wasn't too great within relationships, somehow I managed to create like an amazing community of people, and we called it the Gym for Weirdos, because it was like exactly that. Like no one liked gyms, so we created our own, and everyone was like really special individuals and really loved it there. But due to my psychology, which was geared around do, expand, drive, go, don't stop, pedal to the metal, like as far as you can go. You can't run a business like that. And I was great at fixing people's backs, but didn't have the business knowledge. And also, I was being driven by trauma. And what happened was, is I went into so in the Nourish to Flourish system. I would call this like flourish overdrive. So I was trying to flourish, 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 create, 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 do, without the nourishment actually needed to sustain myself as well as the business. So, I believe that whatever we're doing in life is an extension and a mirror of what's happening within. So, because I was stuck in flourishing within my own psychology, do, go, 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 this was how the business went. And then financially, it couldn't sustain itself because we expanded too quickly and the whole thing collapsed. So then, all right, I'm then in 6 months of just like personal hell, stress, overwhelmed, body collapsed. Come the end, it got so bad that with the gym, that I was kind of glad that it was over, even though it was really distressing. And my health completely collapsed, and I was so in such a space of stress. And what does this mean for me? I'm a failure. Da, 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 da. All of these stories, all of these narratives were really going around my mind. And I was forced to change my ways through my body, which would then become the limitation. I was burnt out. I was done for. That was it. Like, I remember going to the park once, and I was struggling just to move my legs in some Tai Chi exercise. It was like I was so burned out. I was having to sleep like 12, 13 hours a day. Digestive system packed in. It was a bloody nightmare, really. But I got through it, and I was forced into the feminine, which is a bit of a juxtaposition. But I had no choice but to nourish myself and heal myself. So these are other two principles of the Nourish to Flourish system. So Nourish to Flourish system, we have nourish, heal, flourish, and rise. So I was stuck in flourishing and rising without the nourishing and healing. So because my body collapsed, I had to move into my feminine energy. I had to slow down. I had to stop. I had to rest. I had to start taking care of myself at a much deeper level than what I was doing before. So then, over the next few years, I went on a bit of a fire walk with different. Get my notes. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I went on a bit of a firewalk, and anyone who's come to any of my webinars before, you've heard some of the stories around mold, toxicity, and parasite infections. And yeah, I've gone through. I've had like 3 parasite infections, 2 issues with mold, and each one of these was, again, this was burnout. This was like health really struggling. Recently, there was some frequency issues. I actually had to move house recently because I was living next to some train tracks which were affecting my health as well. So yeah, I've been through it, and each time I go through a health challenge or crisis, I see it as an opportunity for me to dial in deeper on my principles. Nourish, flourish, heal, and rise. And you know what? After going through it a lot, I've got pretty good at it now. So it's all about the balance. We can't flourish unless we nourish ourselves. We'll struggle to rise unless we can move with our healing. So the Nourish to Flourish philosophy is an internal guidance system that we can use to work on our health and maintain balance in a world that wants to just bring us completely out of balance. So I've gone through all of these struggles, and I believe really deep down, whilst it really sucks going through difficult things, so many of these challenges have given me a wealth of information that you can't learn in a book through the unique struggles that I've been through. And you know what, it's funny, I'll go I'll go through a struggle, and then the universe will send me people with exactly the same struggle like a month later. It's like, wow, it's like literally works like that. So yeah, and like in this way we can view challenges as a constructive tool for our growth. um So yeah, I got pretty good at nourishing myself, healing myself, and yeah, created this system which I've used to help many people achieve their dreams and achieve their healing or move deeper into their healing. So that's the intro. I'm going to share my screen now, and then we're going to get into the meat of the presentation because I've got some really cool things to share with you guys tonight. Um, but yeah, it's the healing journey can be a difficult and lonely one. But the thing is like you're not alone. Like so many people go through challenges. This is where community and having like-minded people to walk the journey with is so important. So the Nourish to Flourish Phoenix philosophy. Now tonight we're going to be going through Stress 101. I'm going to be talking about the 6 different kinds of stress and how it affects us. We're also going to be talking about the 3 stages of adrenal fatigue and what they are and how to recognize them. Then we're going to go through the Nourish to Flourish philosophy, which is working on our dream, nourish, heal, flourish, rise, and Dreamweaver at the end, which is an exciting new project that yeah, I'm going to share with you at the end. Okay, part 1, the hidden crisis. So I'm talking about stress and the stress response. Now, here we have some cavemen and women who really represent us. We are essentially just cavemen and women with better clothes on. Our evolution hasn't gone much further than that. Although, like one could argue cognitive power has improved massively, but physiologically, we're still cavemen and women. So the stress response. I mean, you guys have probably heard this before around or have an understanding of the stress response and what it's there for, and primarily it's there to keep us safe. If there's a danger represented by this tiger here or this snake here, our fight or flight systems ramp up, cortisol is released, noradrenaline is released, and adrenaline is released to get us to either run away from the threat or fight the threat. Now, it's not really within the scope of this workshop, but really interestingly, the fight or flight, when the fight or flight systems are chronically active, muscles such as the hip flexors tend to get short and tight. Now, this is because the hip flexors, these are our kicking muscles or they're our running muscles. And they also connect with the adrenal glands very intimately. So, when we're under chronic stress, this can and does absolutely affect the muscle balance of the body, leading to pain. Because these are our running or fighting muscles. So basically, human being perceives a threat, fight or flight systems activate, we prepare to run or fight. But we now don't have threats such as tigers or snakes, definitely not in this country, maybe other countries, definitely. So our fight or flight instincts are hijacked these days by things like financial stress, relationship stress, job stress, existential stress. There's been quite a bit of that going around in the last few years. So and a whole host of myriad of other stresses, which we're going to dive into shortly. Because there are actually 6 different kinds of stress that we can actually break stress down into. Now, the important thing before I dive into these 6 different kinds of stresses is that they all summate and they all affect the body in the same way. So now in our modern life, we have so many different stresses all adding up and all piling up from so many different places. And, one stress on its own doesn't tend to make a lot of impact. But the problem is that we actually have hundreds of stressors on us on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month basis. And all of this adds up and all of this affects our health negatively. I'm not saying all stress is bad, which I'll get onto on the next slide, but just to go through these 6 different kinds of stresses. So we'll start at the bottom right. Now, this is the psychic stress. Now, this is typically, when we think of stress, we think of the mental, emotional stresses, such as having a bad day, or, my boss really winds me up, or I had an argument with my partner, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, absolutely, the mental, emotional stresses are massive. But there's only one part of the stress challenge, because we also have these five other big prominent stressors as well that can affect us potentially. So the next one is, if we go up, we've got a woman sort of kind of hunching over with her posture. Now, this is physical stress. Now, when we have poor posture or joints out of alignment, then this absolutely does cause stress on the body. It causes the adrenal glands to fire as well. Lack of movement will also cause stress. And exercise is also stress. However, that's a positive stress, which we'll talk about in a sec. But suffice to say, if your posture and body is out of alignment, there's going to be a degree of stress on it. Next, we got nutritional stress. So this is like your junk foods, your sugars, your coffee, yeah, all the foods that we know aren't good for us, oils, trans fats, all of the stuff that clogs up the system, gunks up the system, hyper excites the system. Alcohol is another one. So these nutritional stressors can really affect our body and put more load on it, depending on what we're eating. So we've probably all had the experience of drinking maybe a little bit too much coffee and just feeling this like really wired sensation. This is because the coffee is stimulating the adrenal glands and stressing the body in exactly the same way as a mental emotional stress or a physical stress would be. Remember, all stress summates. All of these six stresses affect the body in exactly the same way. So our next stress is chemical stress, denoted from here on the top left. And welcome, Anna. Just to fill you in, we're talking about the different kinds of stress. We've got psychic emotional stress, postural stress, nutritional stress, and we're moving on to chemical stress. Now, chemical stress and food stress are actually very closely related a lot of the time, because unfortunately, may have some awareness that there's a lot of chemicals in our foods, antibiotics, and hormones due to how they're treating the animals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, rodenticides. So all of the stuff that they spray on the crops, which are designed to kill animals. So somehow, if there's a chemical designed to kill an animal, do we really want to be bringing that into our bodies? I mean, my answer to that is no. It's kind of common sense, but it's yeah. I mean, I tell you a story actually recently. I got some reduced duck. I'm pretty on eating organic meats, and but this duck was like, yeah, really cheap, and got some of it, and oh my god, I was fasting at the time, and I ate some of this duck. Jesus, I fell off a cliff. My body felt gross. My sorry to be graphic, but my sweat the next day stank. I was like, oh my god, the toxicity I had absorbed from this duck was horrendous, because like ducks are very fatty meat, and the toxins are generally stored in the fat cells of the body. So I brought this toxic duck into my body, and I felt immediately, oh, the chemicals, like, oh, just God knows what was in it, but it wasn't good. Yeah, chemicals not just limited to foods. We have a lot of chemical toxicity in our environment. One of my clients at the moment is a dentist, and he's got a very bad heavy metal problem, because where he drills out people's mercury fillings, he's basically been breathing in metal vapors for like like many years, and this is causing a toxicity problem. Um, and if you want a very good holistic dentist, by the way, then hit me up. I can give you a great introduction. Um, but yeah, I mean, like there's so many toxins in our world. Like there's also metals in the water if you drink tap water, and so on. So the liver has to deal with all of these different toxins, and it's not really designed to do it. Remember, we are cavemen and women with better clothes, so our bodies aren't really equipped to deal with the level of toxicity that we're constantly under on a day-to-day basis. So again, all of which causes stress on the system. The next one, which is less known, is bottom left here, EMF stress, so electromagnetic frequencies. So Basically, you know, when you go for an X-ray and they put the technician stands behind the LED screen so that they don't get all of the electromagnetic frequencies. That's same kind of things happening, but to a much lesser degree by Wi-Fi signals, phone signals, railway lines, 4G, 5G. So we are literally being bombarded by frequencies left, right, and center, which is again it's stressing the body. Now I've got to be really mindful of this. I've had to move out of two properties because of I'm super sensitive to frequencies. One property I was on the ley line, double ley lines, and I started falling off a cliff in terms of my health. System under constant stress, unable to sleep, just is really bad, feeling like I was in a microwave. And then recently I moved out of another property because it was next to the overground. And after a few months of living there, I started getting really bad again. So I'm extremely sensitive to frequencies. I can't work on my laptop for more than like 2 hours before I start kind of feeling the stress of it. Um, so EMF, we want to try and mitigate it as much as possible. I mean, I turn off my Wi-Fi at night, turn off all my phones at night, get all the electrical items out of my sleeping environment because this can interrupt our sleep. Um, and then the last one is thermal stress. So being too hot or too cold. Now, this actually for short periods of time can be really good. Getting in a really hot sauna or getting in a cold plunge. If you're in a good space, this can actually be really, really beneficial. But chronically, this can put extra stress on the body. So all in all, 6 different kinds of stress. If we have stress coming from every single angle, the body's going to get overloaded, and at some point, we're going to run into a health challenge. Okay, so and yeah, I just want to say also, like, not all stress is bad. So what I'm mainly talking about is chronic stressors that are there day in, day out, that are going to affect the body in a negative way over time. Now, acute stressors are generally going to be very good for us. So, like I said, like hot and being too hot or being too cold, like in a sauna or an ice bath, great. It's going to strengthen the body. It's going to strengthen the vasculature. It's going to strengthen the circulation. Exercise, great acute stressor. We work the muscle to break the muscle down so that it can then rebuild stronger. This is an acute stressor that causes us to grow. And here I've also got a public speaking presentation. So yeah, if ever we talk in front of people, it's super scary, and then we do it and we grow, and it's not so scary. So, actually, my own reflection is like delivering this webinar right now is a lot less stressful than the first one I did, which was really stressful. So, it's these acute stressors that cause us to grow. So, and we need a certain amount of stress to actually stay healthy. But it's when we get overloaded with these hundreds of different stressors left, right, and center. This is where it causes problems in the body. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, one sec, guys. Oh no, how's it gone right to the end? Okay, right. Two ticks, two ticks. Just got to go right back to the start. 64 slides. um, so yeah, just while I'm doing this, I just want you to just reflect on if there are stresses within your life and what is your relationship with those stresses? Just have a little think. Nearly there. Okay, right, we're good, we're good. Okie dokie. So yeah, next. So stress or stree and disease. So now it's quite famous. They got a room full of doctors and all asked them what's the biggest killer and what's the biggest cause of disease, and they pretty much unanimously said it's stress. So the body is designed to handle acute stresses, but not chronic stresses. Now, modern life is chronic stress left, right, and center. So we have subtle stressors, we have ongoing stresses. So a subtle stressor might be a food that we're eating that's not agreeing with us. An ongoing stressor might be that job or relationship that's just really getting you down every time you go there. and cumulative stress could be the stresses that like build up over time and get worse and worse. So what I said about the EMFs, for me, that was definitely a cumulative stressor that just built. So chronic stress keeps your nervous system in fight or flight, preventing healing and repair. And then we get a whole host of symptoms. Now, all symptoms are pretty much a cause, a result of some sort of stressor in the body. So it could be fatigue, it could be pain, gut issues, anxiety, hormonal imbalance, and weight gain are often actually rooted in a long-term stress response. Now, what is the stress response? So now, when we experience a stressful situation or the fight or flight system is engaged, the adrenal glands, which are on top of the kidneys, produce cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And what happens is basically this is preparing us for fight or flight. So physiologically, what happens is the blood gets shunted from the organs into the arms and legs to prepare us to run or fight. Um, and a number of the systems of the body constrict and change. So, for instance, the heart speeds up, the pupils constrict, the digestive system stops because we need to take action to get out of the stress. So now this is great if it's in a short period of time. So, for example, there's a great book on stress actually that I can recommend called "Why Don't Zebras Get Ulcers?" And basically, they talk about like when the lion comes through the zebra's chilling, having a nice time in the field, then sees the lion. Oh my God! Stress goes through the roof. Um, Zebra goes running, like runs away from the lion, gets away from the lion, thank God, and then shakes it off. And then within 5 minutes, the zebra's back to chilling again. So this is an acute stressor that is overcome quite quickly. But within our case as human beings, we have a mind that tends to continually drive stress. So, if the lion came for us and we got away, we'd probably be worrying about lions for the next 3 days and stressing ourselves out over it because, it's to keep us safe. But also we have all of these other stresses that I mentioned on us as well. So chronic stress will shut down digestion, reproduction, detox pathways. It will alter the microbiome, neurotransmitters, so the body's communication, and energy metabolism as well. And keeps your nervous system stuck in survival, always looking for threats, which is quite frankly pretty knackering and leads to burnout if it's extended over time. So the hormones of stress. Now, hormones, chemical signalers or messengers of the body, just tell the body what to do essentially, tend to get knocked out of rhythm and out of whack when there's excessive stress. Now, so high cortisol suppresses the thyroid, sex hormones, and the sleep hormone melatonin. Now, it's quite interesting. So when it comes to the thyroid, now we can think of the adrenal glands. They're kind of like the gas pedal for the body, whereas the thyroid is kind of like the brake. So the adrenal glands want to speed the body up because it's concerned with fight or flight, whereas the thyroid is trying to slow the body down. So what tends to happen is in the presence of chronic stress, the body's continually trying to put the gas on, and the thyroid's continually trying to put the brake on, which then ends up stressing both systems, and then you end up with hypothyroidism when things start shutting down, hyperthyroidism when things are going too fast, and one can go from one to the other. So it's we don't want to rag a car with the gas and the brake at the same time. So also the sex hormones as well. Now it's quite interesting because the precursor for cortisol is in terms of hormones, hormonal building blocks, which come from fats primarily from our diet. The hormonal building blocks of cortisol, testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone all come from the common root. So now what tends to happen when someone's excessively stressed, the hormones, instead of going to testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone, which help to regulate our body, help the body to repair, help to keep us in a good space within ourselves, they get sent to cortisol. So women having difficult monthly cycles, whether that's heavy flow or whether it's excessive pain, so much of this is related to cortisol in a stressed body. And to the extreme, this is why women within war zones lose their monthly cycles. Is quite common because they're in such a chronic fight or flight space because of there's a literal war around them. That's not the time for procreation, so the body shuts that system down. So yeah, so that's the extreme, but tends to happen is stress will cause all sorts of irregularities with the menstrual cycle, and then also sleep. So the hormone called melatonin puts us to sleep, which should naturally build as we go through our evening. But cortisol suppresses the melatonin, impacting our sleep. And in excessive times, I know when I've been going through extremely stressed times, like my sleep has just been all over the place. Um, because of what was on my mind, but also what's happening biochemically and the stress hormones waking me up in the middle of the night. Um, so melatonin, also a big one, is the blue light from the screens. This is why I've got these super stylish glasses, which basically blocks off the blue light. So this then stops that suppression of melatonin, which then helps me sleep a bit more. And actually, I'm going to keep these on actually because actually just looking at the screen is like I can feel it's a little bit stressful for my eyes. So it's getting late. Well, yeah, 7:30. So I would usually put my glasses on there when I'm looking at screens. Okay, and then the gut as well. So I mentioned that when the fight or flight system is active, the blood goes to the arms and legs. Now, if this is happening chronically, the blood isn't centering in the organs. So the organs aren't able to get that pumping. They're not able to get that motilization. They're not able to mobilize toxins. They're not able to do their thing as effectively. They're not able to heal. So that's one thing. But also chronic stress tends to weaken digestion, which will lead to things like leaky gut over here, food sensitivities, bloating. So leaky gut is basically when the tight wall cell junctions of the gut wall start to break down, and undigested food particles make their way into the bloodstream, which then tend to then um, create lots of inflammation in the body, but also tend to get into the joints. So a lot of people with pain in like their fingers or their toes joints, this is often actually related to the gut, because the food particles are getting through the gut wall because the junctions are broken, and the nervous system attacks the food particles, swamps them with white blood cells, and you go from having this small food particle to something that's much now bigger floating around the body. These make their way into the joints and end up causing pain and inflammation. Stress will reduce enzyme and acid production, so your hydrochloric acid in your stomach, which if your HCl is low, then this opens the door for parasites because they can get through because the stomach isn't vaporizing them in the acid. I'm not going to dive into parasites because I recorded a whole 90-minute webinar all on parasites, which is tons of information. So that's called Little Buggers, and you can find that on my website if you're interested in finding out about fungal and parasite infections. But suffice to say, they cause a lot of problems in the body and in the gut, and fungus and parasites stress the system a lot because of the toxins that they release and the negative effects that they create, of which there are many. Stress will also alter the microbiome, which will potentially alter our serotonin. Like 80 to 90% of our serotonin, our feel-good hormone, is made in the gut. So if the gut's impaired, then we're not going to feel as good, which causes immune dips. And also, if the gut isn't in a good place, the immune system is also going to struggle. And last of all is trauma. So the gut holds a lot of trauma. So the nervous system can be clenched from within. So when I do fascial release with my clients, so sometimes this will go into the realm of doing body work on the organs. And I've had quite a few times where like the organs are like stiff. Like wow, the intestines should be not feeling stiff, and I'll release the intestines, and then we'll break down that stiffness, and suddenly the person starts crying and really releasing in a really strong way because of what we've managed to uncap in terms of the trauma in the gut. So, an unhealed and unexpressed trauma will also cause a lot of subconscious stress as well. Stress and weight gain. So, yeah, cortisol raises blood sugar, which creates insulin spikes, which lead to fat storage. Now, I've got a picture of a roller coaster here because when we are um, in the stress cycle, we are kind of on the hormonal and biochemical roller coaster. So, stress, cortisol is a glucocorticoid, glucose, sugar. So, when the system is under stress, it will release cortisol, which will then metabolize into sugar, which then has to be processed by the body, which then, if it's got nowhere to go, gets stored as fat. So now, what tends to happen if we're also having lots of sugary foods and lots of coffee and stressful events is that our blood sugar will be spiked. The body will respond by releasing insulin, but the insulin is the shuttle hormone that basically sends the blood sugar into the fat cells. Then we get a blood sugar crash, and then glucocorticoid. If the blood sugar crash is too low, the body will release cortisol, to the stress hormone, to bring the blood sugar back up so that we don't slip into a coma. At the same time, you get a sugar craving, so you have more sugar, and then bam, you're right, the blood sugar's right back up. So again, the body releases insulin, and you're just on this hormonal roller coaster throughout the day. It's blood sugar roller coaster, and every time the um, the body is storing this energy as fat. So a lot of the time, it's not just about willpower. It's de-stressing. I mean, if I've got anyone for weight loss, we ain't focusing on calories or exercise anywhere near the start. No, no, no. Like the first thing we focus on is detoxifying and de-stressing the body. I have had clients lose kilos without touching a diet or looking at calories at all, just through looking at those two things: detoxify the body and de-stress the life. Because so much of weight gain is down to those two things. Now, toxins, it's because the like with the duck, the that I mentioned earlier, the fat cells are storage, so they store toxins as well as energy. So if the body's toxic, it will put on weight, and this is why actually with crash diet approaches, it can actually make a person really ill. Because if a person loses 10 kilos in 10 days due to a crash diet, which doesn't work, they often liberate loads of toxicity into the bloodstream that was stored in the fat cells, and then they feel like crap. Um, so also the gut issues and inflammation. This will cause weight retention, emotional eating patterns, like this lady here, which are again often rooted in trauma or some sort of dysregulation, and also safety. So like when we are feeling stressed, the body does not feel safe. When the body doesn't feel safe, it doesn't want to release weight because it keeps the weight on because it feels like it's in a famine. And that weight, that fat, that energy is going to be useful if you're like in a survival situation. So if the body and mind perceives that it's in a survival situation, it's going to want to hold on to weight just in case it needs that energy for later, because the body physiologically isn't differentiating between being in the wilderness or not. That's kind of what's happening in the body. It believes that it's in a legitimate survival space, so we'll hold on to weight. Okay, let's talk about the three stages of adrenal fatigue next, because I think this is quite important because you may have been in one of these stages previously, or might even be in one of these stages now, and it's good to recognize. Now, I have explored all three stages, and got like now when I realize that I'm in one of these stages, I now know that all right, I need to do this, this, and this. Usually involves stopping and slowing down as the first thing, and resting and sleeping. So the first stage is the alarm phase. This is where we are tired but wired. So now this is when the cortisol is high, bringing like this wired energy. You're always on the go. You feel like on edge, but at the same time productive, because you're like getting loads of things done. It's kind of like the jittery feeling that you get when you've like had too much coffee. They're kind of on edge, but you're getting stuff done because you're stimulated. Um, Sleep can be quite shallow in this stage, maybe having trouble falling asleep. Like then this is like sitting up at night with the mind whirring. Cravings for salt, sugar, or caffeine, so which are then going to stress the body more. PMS, anxiety or irritability, or painful menstrual cycles. I've had some fantastic results from my female clients in terms of reducing pain with their monthly cycles or helping them to reduce their pain, as well as intense emotions through regulating stress and diet. And yeah, this tired but wired. Now, this tired but wired is this kind of phenomenon where we tend to wake up in the morning. We're quite tired in the morning, but we pick up through the day, and come the evening, we're like buzzing, and but it's like this wiredness. It's not like a fresh getting up freshly rested in the morning. It's like buzzing. Um, so this is a telltale sign that yeah, you're in what stage one adrenal fatigue. So you feel exhausted but can't sleep, and tend to crash during the day and get like a second wind in the night. And what's happening is the nervous system is currently stuck in fight or flight mode. There's no rest happening there. Body is flooded with stress hormones even when you're trying to rest. We've also got blood sugar instability, which is this roller coaster situation I was just talking about. And then if we've got like poor sleep hygiene or blue light exposure, then this also is then preventing us from resting and stressing the body just before sleep. Because the light also stresses the body. So when we see sunlight in the morning, you notice that it wakes you up. This is because the sunlight is stimulating the adrenal glands to get us to up and go, which is great. That's what we need, because otherwise we wouldn't get up in the morning. But the problem with the blue light and the phones and the screens just before bed is that they are also stimulating the stress response just before we're trying to sleep, as well as suppressing the melatonin. Um, and then yeah, often when it comes to stimulants as well, if you're using coffee to get through the day, then there's a good chance that you are either in stage one or stage two adrenal fatigue. I used to do this a lot. I never drink coffee now if I'm tired, ever, because when I'm tired, I need to rest. I need to nourish and heal. I don't need to flourish and rise because it's a false economy. I'm just going to drive my gears even more. Um, okay, stage two is the resistance phase. So this is when you start to, yeah, okay, something's not right here. Cortisol production becomes erratic, which means daytime energy dips, especially mid-afternoon, often needing to nap in the afternoon. Immune system weakens, so you get sick often, get mood swings, brain fog, blood sugar issues, poor recovery from exercise. But to be honest, in this stage, you don't really feel like exercising a great deal anyway. And sleep starts to break down even more. When the sleep starts to go even more, this kind of causes more of a cascade, more of a downward spiral. And if this goes on for too long, and it could be any one of stressors or a combination of the stressors, then eventually we're going to reach burnout. Now, this ain't pretty. So when my business collapsed, this is where I was. 3 months, I couldn't really do very much. That was one of my biggest burnouts. I got pretty burned out from mold. Mold did me in. Yeah, I was pretty bad from the mold. Took me a month of not doing very much actually when I moved out of the house. Yeah, this is basically total exhaustion even after sleeping. So, sleeping 12 hours a day and you wake up still tired. Depression, apathy, a loss of libido, and struggle to handle stresses. Even little things feel really huge. You often feel numb or even emotionally disconnected, maybe mistaken for chronic fatigue syndrome or even depression. So, yeah, if you've ever felt like your body is screaming for rest, but your mind won't let you, you're not broken, you're likely just burned out. The good news is this is reversible, and with the right nourishment, nervous system repair, and slow, loving rebuild, you can get back to a good space. Um, I am the living proof of that, having gone through a few of these. So, but it's to be taken seriously, and I've had it a couple of times over the last couple of years where I'm like, whoa, I need to really be mindful here, and mainly it was the EMF exposure, and I had to really scale things back, take on less clients, not do as much in order to heal. Because if you just try and push through, then it's just going to likely make things worse. Okay, so I've given you enough of the problems. Here is the solution to any and all health problems, not just health problems, but it's also the solution to any and all goal achievement within the realm of health and well-being. But also, this can also extend to business as well, or anything that you set your mind to. This Nourish to Flourish Phoenix philosophy can be employed. So I'm going to make this for the purpose of stress and burnout, but just know that this is suitable for recovering from burnout, recovering from health conditions, getting over back pain, running a marathon, doing a massive cycle ride. It's all the same. So what I've done is I've boiled it down into 5 archetypal principles that across the board will work. Now, this is primarily an education system. Now, it's teaching you how to think, not what to do, but how to think about what you're doing. And this is what really why I love it so much, because it's better to there's a saying something like you can give a man some fish, feed him for a day, or you can teach him to fish and you're going to feed him for a lifetime. So like I have like nothing is more rewarding for me than bumping into clients I haven't seen for like 5 years, and they're like, yeah, like Doctor Quiet or Doctor Diet, because this is what I used to do was 4 doctors, but now it's the 4 principles. And they're like, yeah, still rolling with Doctor Diet, yeah, still thinking about it, still helps me, and that's the beauty of it. It's not necessarily do this, do that. It's here's how to think about doing this or that, because I found that everyone really they know the answers of we all know the answers of what we need to do, albeit there's definitely a space for protocols and very specific advice for very specific things, obviously, but we all know where we're not maybe nourishing ourselves. We might have an inkling of where we may need to heal. We all want to move into our happiness and rise. That's the rise principle, and we all want to flourish in life. So this is kind of like it's like your inner guidance system to basically make the right kind of decisions for your health and well-being, whilst also maintain balance within your health and well-being. So I'm going to go through what the concepts are now. There are also many action points contained within these 4 principles, but it's not a do this, do that. It's here's how I think about it, and then when we're thinking in these principles, we tend to then guide our choices to the right place. So now to explain this, now we've got the 4 elements. We've got earth with nourish, fire with flourish, water with heal, and air with rise. And they juxtapose each other. So now nourish. Let me go to the next slide. No. Okay. So nourish and heal are feminine principles, yin principles. Whereas rise and flourish are yang principles, masculine. So nourish and heal are feminine principles, rise and flourish are masculine principles. Now, they say that the feminine is actually the more powerful energy, and the feminine energy is the more powerful energy because feminine energy creates, it builds energy, whereas yang, masculine energy divides energy. So, in the case of Nourish to Flourish, we need to nourish ourselves. We need to resource ourselves with good foods, good environments, good people in order to then flourish. Like, we need to water a plant before that plant can then grow and, open its petals and become a beautiful addition to the world. But without the nourishment, it's not able to flourish. So, the nourishment needs to come first. The feminine energy needs to be looked after first. And the feminine energy is like our rest, our relaxation. It's our nurturing energy. It's looking after ourselves. It's resting. It's slowing down. It's giving us what we need to build ourselves up. Whereas like the flourish is like the action. It's like the movement energy. So we need to nourish before we can flourish, and we also need to heal before we can rise. So heal is all about our emotions, our healing journey, rest, sleep, relaxation, and rise is also around taking action, but more with our happiness in life. Now, you notice that actually in the middle of these four principles, there is the golden heart, which is actually representative of the most important principle. And really, the other four principles are supporting the heart, which is the dream or the presence of love within our lives. So we could say that the Nourish to Flourish philosophy is all to support our dreams. So, principle one, the dream. Now, our dream has the ability to transform exhaustion into energy, wounds into wisdom, challenges into strength, and bring our dreams into reality. Now, when I talk about the dream, the dream is the thing that we are aiming towards within our life, that thing that brings us inspiration, it brings us drive, it brings us good things. It is a labor of love that makes the actions that we need to do in the present much more palpable and able to move through, knowing that they're contributing in some way to that which we want to create in the world, which is a product of the love within our hearts. So this is the dream, or some people might call it the goal. So having a dream for our lives or our programs is super important, especially when it comes to getting better from health challenges. So, for everyone, it's going to look slightly different. It may look for some people like getting their health into a great place, starting a heart-led project, being present within their parenting with their kids, could be bringing a work project, could be creating their dream home, building a community, moving to unique gifts. Everyone has a dream that's unique to them. Could be losing £10, but I would go further than that and say, right, well, why do you want to lose the £10? Because the £10 goal is there's often something driving that. There's a deeper dream behind that, and my dream might actually to feel more confident or to feel more within my body, to like what I see in the mirror potentially. So having the dream is really important for any kind of effort, and really the Nourish to Flourish philosophy is all in support of the dream, that thing that we want to create. Now, often, especially when we have health challenges, we're not living our dream, we are living the nightmare. So this can be pain, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or relational. Our nightmare might be being in stress and burnout. It might be being too tired to live the life that we want. It might be that we have health problems holding us back from what we want to do, or digestive problems, meaning that we need to plan, going out because we might need to make sure that we're close to the toilet, for instance. So when we're living the nightmare, we have a really good idea of where we don't want to be. So based on that, we can construct our dream, which is where we do want to be and where we do want to move towards. So having that dream is the most essential part of any change process. Without even worrying about the other four concepts, the dream is the most important. So yeah, I really want to pose the question to you guys at the moment, like what is your dream, and do you have a dream that you're actively working towards at the moment? Do you have something that lights you up? Do you have something that makes you feel good when you think about it? Do you have something that inspires you? So this is really important. And if you don't have a dream, then that's also fine, because there are processes to find your dream as well. which I help people with. So yeah, like the Nourish to Flourish system is very much a dream facilitation system. So we got the yin yang here, kind of on a 45-degree angle. So this is showing us the nourish and the heal principles are yin or feminine, and the flourish and rise principles are yang or masculine. So we need to nourish and heal before we can flourish and rise. Remember, feminine energy builds energy, yang, masculine energy divides energy. If we don't have the energy built and we're trying to divide the energy, we're going to run out of energy, and we're going to end up with burnout. Um, and yeah, in my case, I was stuck in flourishing and rising within my business, and this is why the business collapsed because I wasn't nourishing the business or myself, and I was acting from unhealed trauma. So what wasn't healed within was driving my behaviors of having to do, go, build. Um, so had I been nourishing things myself in the business, and had I known about healing at that time, I could have been able to maybe do something about it. But at the same time, it was perfect. It went exactly the way it went, and I'm grateful for losing a business. So you want to develop yourself and learn some things and lose a business. I highly recommend it. I learned a lot of things that can be taught through that experience, which is now very helpful now. So yeah, so Nourish to Flourish is our dream facilitation system. So each one of these principles in some way is supporting our dream in the middle. Okay, so principle two, nourish, nourishment. Oh, that's such a lovely word, nourishment. Kind of really warm and yeah, kind of fulfilling. So yeah, I just really want to speak to nourish your world. Like where is your sense of nourishment at the moment, and what is your relationship with nourishment? Like how are you potentially nourishing your world, or like I was not nourishing my world? So let's dive into what the different tenets of nourishment are. So, yeah, like hydration, moistening foods, like good foods that are going to build the body, nourish the body. Like I always think of like a nice nourishing winter soup. Really putting that goodness into the body. Nourishing myself with good, clean, healthy water. Our cells are made of it. Our entire body is made of water. So, water quality is important. How are we nurturing and nourishing ourselves through water? Water is also a deeply feminine concept as well. So, energizing life force, what we nourish ourselves gets converted into energy. If we have energy, then we can be in the pursuit of our joy, or we can be in our joy, which ties into rise, because rise is happiness as well. So, if we're nourishing ourselves with good foods that really feed our body, if we're nourishing ourselves with sunlight, we're like plants. Like plants need water, plants need sunlight, plants need food. So do we. So when the sun comes out, like it's been glorious recently, I'm getting as much as I can because after winter we get depleted from vitamin D. So getting sunlight on a regular basis is really super healthy for us. It's needed. It's needed for our hormonal system, our hormonal clock. We need sunlight. Building foods. So yeah, nourishing ourselves with good proteinous foods to give our body the building blocks it needs. It's also the rhythms of our body. So we build rhythms into our routine, build a nourishing routine backed by nourishing values, and we're going to set ourselves up for a winner. So how are we building our body? How are we nourishing ourselves through what we're eating? Uh, and nourish doesn't extend just to foods. It's also right. What kind of environments are we surrounding ourselves with? Like, are the people in our lives nourishing us? Are our connections giving to us, or are they maybe taking from us? Um, are we nourishing the person in the mirror? What is our self-talk like? Are we talking to ourselves in a way that is nourishing, or are we beating ourselves over the back with a stick, which doesn't tend to do us very much favors or get us anywhere really? This is you used to be me as well, so I know a little bit about it. Um, but yeah, it's like if we're not able to nourish ourselves, then how are we able to nourish anyone around us? Nature as well. Um, damn important for us. Anyone who lives in a city, I went out to Epping Forest the other day. I was feeling a bit low on energy, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get to the forest. Oh my God, it was like the most nourishing 3 hours of the month. So we need that. We are the nature. We're not separate from it, but we tend to believe that we are. We need it. It nourishes us. And nourishing our dream. Are we tending to the garden of our heart? What are we doing to nourish our creations in life? What are we doing to nourish our love in life? What are we doing to nourish our inspiration? How are we feeding that dream? Um, so yeah, physical nourishment. Some different suggestions. Preparing a colorful, vital meal. Taking your time. It's a big one for me. Like I'm a gym guy for so many years. I eat for function. Like there's nothing that pretty about my meals. It's something I'm working on. But you know what? When I actually take the time, like really take the time to slow down, make a nice meal, present it well, and just really just put that love into it. Oh, it's a completely different meal. So this is for me actually with my nutritional nourishment is to spend more time cooking in that way. So it's not just food is fuel. But yeah, like taking a gentle walk in nature, having an early night can be deeply nourishing, stretching, drink more water. You know, I don't want to tell you guys what to do because you know what's nourishing, and that's the point of the system. You know what nourishes you. But the question is, are you making time and space to do that? Are you making time and space to do that? Is the question, and if so, great job, and if not, that's okay. But is that something you'd like to change, perhaps? And if you were to change it, how would things feel or be for you? Emotional nourishment. You could call a friend, write in your journal, have a nice bath, listen to uplifting music, cuddle a pet or loved one. For me, actually, a lot of emotional nourishment happens in the gym. I'm a very kind of Aries personality. Like when I'm lifting weights, this is so good for my emotional nourishment. If I'm feeling down, I just need to go and lift some weights. It's like quite simple for me. But then the next person that might not be, what they find nourishment in because they may find like a yoga class or yeah, like having a bath or something else. So like I say, I don't want to tell you guys what to do. You know what to do. It's just are you in the space of doing it? And just as a segue, yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah, feeds into this. So it's not just about food because we eat with our eyes and we eat with our ears. So what kind of mental nourishment are we surrounding ourselves with? Are we always on social media, doom scrolling, which is kind of like I see it as McDonald's for the mind? Are we, giving ourselves supportive, inspiring material, or are we maybe watching horror films on a regular basis? So how are we nourishing the mind? So, you could read something inspiring, learn something new, create something, plan something exciting, practice mindfulness, and so on. It's just examples, not gospel. Spiritual nourishment. Are we nourishing our connection with ourselves? Nourishing our connection with others, maybe nourishing our connection to the greater whole. I always find that when I nourish my connection, and for me, it's not a church thing or a temple thing, it's more a nature thing. I feel good for that. Yeah. So our connection with God, if you believe in God or the Spirit, or whatever way you want to frame it, everyone is different. Okay, so that's nourishment. So moving on to the next principle, which is heal. So this is very much the water element, and within the Nourish to Flourish system, when we look at heal, we're looking predominantly at two different areas. One is rest, relaxation, and restoration, which is another way of nourishing our body, and the other is healing our emotional trauma and moving into a space whereby we're able to address the things that are potentially the stones in our shoes, but from a nourished and resourced place, because it's not always the best thing to go rooting around and diving in deep into our trauma if we're not prepared, nourished, and in some cases have professional guidance and help for those processes. Um, so yes, about rest and relaxation and understanding that we need to be rested and relaxed in order to heal. We need space because the body cannot heal in a stressed space. I'll talk about it in a sec. So yeah, healing is like it's kind of like the ocean, with in terms of our emotions. Sometimes the ocean is calm, sometimes the ocean is a tempest. Will pull us around left, right, and center and be very intense. So we can bring the soothing waters of healing to ourselves, to our body, our physiology, and heal is actually the chief of the physiology. And actually, when we're in a stressed, adrenally fatigued place, um, it's probably actually heal we're going to first, and the sleep, rest, and relaxation part of heal. We are slowing down, we are stopping, we are putting the brakes on, doing whatever we're doing that is causing the adrenal fatigue, stress, and the burnout. Um, and this can be challenging because we can often get addicted to stress. Stress is addictive. So, this has been a massive one for me to learn. Like, if I'm feeling stressed or that I'm gunning too hard, it is just to go to the rest. Take the 10 hours sleep, maybe even more if it's needed, and put those brakes on because this is number one way when we're adrenally fatigued, stressed, and burned out, going to heal, rest, and relaxation. Now, if that's not possible because sometimes the stress may be so deep that we're not able to relax, then we're looking at other strategies. We're looking at supporting the system through nutrition, supplements, um, nervous system exercises to deload and relax the nervous system, which will also come under heal. So think slow, think gentle, think rest, think relaxation, and you're in the right space when it comes to heal. Yeah, because the stored trauma that hasn't been resolved absolutely can activate our fight or flight system. So sometimes it's the appropriate thing is to address stored trauma and address some of the difficult things that may have happened to us. And this has been a big journey for myself and is a continuing journey. I've made some massive strides with it. There's still work to do. There's still places to go with it, but I'm a different person now because of what I've managed to move through and in terms of stored trauma. Because like the trauma that's not been resolved will keep us in the fight or flight state. We're still looking for that same attack or that same thing will happen because we have the wiring that this thing happened. It really hurt. It was really bad. I don't want this to happen again. Therefore, I'm going to be hyper vigilant and look for it. And that hypervigilance combined with the protective strategies can also absolutely keep us in a fight or flight state. And for me, in my personal journey, this has been massive, really massive, because I shared with my story at the start. I've had a bunch of difficult things happen with me, which has been a continual process of unpeeling and healing. And I find that the psyche, the mind, the body heals in layers. So it will only kind of psyche will only bring us what we're ready for at a given moment in time, and in a constructive, safe, warm, loving space, maybe facilitated by others, maybe by yourself. Things can be processed in a safe way. And it's be mindful when you're moving this, and like there's so many ways to do it. Therapy is one. I always believe that some sort of somatic approach combined with talking therapies always is tends to be a really good way to go because the talking therapies we can reason with what's happened with us on the mental level, but the somatic therapies like this helps to actually move the stored trauma from the cells. Breath work moves it from the cells. So I do a lot of body work with people, helping them to overcome all sorts of different traumas. Yeah, difficult things that have happened to the person, sexual traumas, all kinds of different things that can be stored in the body. Yeah, like because like the bodywork can really help to liberate what's stored there. So there's many routes, but yeah, I can really recommend just yeah doing research and getting really acquainted with what might be involved in a trauma release process if that's a route that you're looking to go down. And yeah, making sure that you're resourced and nourished. And then what comes of that is the release. The stone in the shoe gets taken out, and the things that used to have a hold on us don't have so much of a hold anymore. So heal, also to wrap, heal up. Yeah, rest, relaxation. Taking it slow like this guy here, this cutie pie. Cooling the body down as well, and introspection as well. I didn't really talk about that, but heal is also about our meditation, our slowing down, our looking within, our stillness as well, which is also tends to be really important for us to, especially again, if we're looking to overcome health problems, moving into stillness puts the body into the rest and digest, moving it out of the fight or flight. Okay, principle 4, flourish. My favorite one that can get me in trouble if I'm not nourishing. So flourish is all about yeah, flourishing in life. It's transformation, it's fire, it's movement. It is changing from one thing to the next. So we've got the butterfly here, caterpillar turning into the butterfly. This is very much flourishing. So the caterpillar will kind of goes into its nourishment phase. It eats loads of whatever caterpillars eat, and then it goes into its chrysalis. So this is kind of like its stillness, its heal phase, and then it grows and emerges and flourishes, transformed into the butterfly. So flourish is a result of the resourcing, the nourishing, and healing that we do for ourselves. Now, in my system, flourishing is also all about exercise and keeping a happy, healthy, and strong body. Uh, Exercise helps us stay with our confidence, keeps our posture in a good place, keeps that postural stress under wraps, and keeps the fire of our metabolism burning. So keeps our metabolism and therefore energy levels in a good place. When we exercise, somehow we have more energy than if we don't exercise. So flourish is also about detoxification. It's about elimination, liver, kicking all the stuff out. It's a bit of a weird one because, uh, yeah, it's kind of like how can you imagine like um, getting rid of things being flourishing? But it is. It's kind of like the liver flourishing because you're getting rid of the stuff, the body flourishing because you're clearing toxins from it. Got the lymphatic system here, our body sewage system, which moves the toxins in, around, and out. So detoxification is a flourish principle. Now, also, we need to be nourished before we can detox because detox is stressful on the body. So whenever we go through, if I'm working with someone on their health and they got extreme amount of toxicity, then I need to be qualifying that person as to whether detoxification is going to be the right thing for them at that moment in time because it might be too stressful for the body, it might be too much. So yeah, being mindful, detoxification can be stressful on the body. So resourcing yourself and getting yourself into a space of vitality prior is key. Moving thoughts as well. It's all about sometimes we can find ourselves in the funky territory of our thoughts. So flourish is also around moving thoughts through moving the body because my body and mind are one. Okay, principle 5, rise. So rise is the air element and it's very much eagle medicine. So rise is all about our happiness, which ties in quite a lot with our dream. Because this is a yang principle because we need to create our happiness. It requires effort. We don't just wake up in the morning and well, if we've done a lot of good work, then yeah, we do wake up in the morning and we're happy. But in order to create our dreams, we need to have action. So rise also governs our psychology and our choices in life, and our choices in life dictate the quality of our life that we have. Are we choosing the most optimal choices that are in line with our happiness and dreams, or are we choosing to sabotage ourselves and maybe choose the easy path of self-gratification rather than the thing that's going to help us the most? Rise psychology. So rise keeps the psychology in a good place. And again, it's about choice, choosing what brings us joy, following our natural interests and curiosity, trusting our inner guidance and instincts. And the Nourish to Flourish system is an inner guidance system. If you get really acquainted with this, then you're going to know yourself at a deeper level and also what you need at a deeper level. We make conscious and aligned decisions, rise above mental limitations, and rise above fear. So we're rising above the situations that we find ourselves in and asking ourselves, what does that higher version of ourselves want or need, or how do I rise into that? It's also the medicine of the eagle. So the eagle rises above the situation and decides what it wants to focus on with keen eyesight and moves towards that thing that it wants to create for itself. So we can rise into new perspectives, we can see hidden opportunities, we can feel expanded possibilities, appreciate the bigger picture, release limited thinking, explore higher wisdom, and create from an elevated awareness. Uh, we see challenges as opportunities, find solutions that others miss, inspire through example, lift our community, and we can access our higher wisdom. And for difficult people in one's life, we can also rise above the BS of the situation. Potentially, this can also come in useful. So we choose from wisdom, we follow our joy, we trust our path, inspire freedom, and create happiness in our lives. Okay, so yeah, just to round off the Nourish to Flourish system. So it's all about the dream. The Nourish to Flourish system is all about the facilitation of your dream. So the first step, figure out what your dream is and what that thing that you want to move towards. And then ask yourself the question, where am I in balance? Or where am I not in balance? Maybe I need a little bit more nourishment in my life. Maybe I actually need to take more action, more flourishment. Maybe I need to focus on my happiness a little bit more. Or maybe there's some things I need to address. Or do I just simply need to go to bed a little bit earlier? And that's going to give me more energy to achieve and realize my dream. So it's a dynamic system that you can use in many different ways. But like I say, it's not what to do, it's how to think. So if you can get into the habit of thinking on a day-to-day basis, like, how am I nourishing myself today? Am I being in a healing manner? Have I risen above the situation that I'm in? Or am I creating happiness? Where am I taking action towards my dream today? Where am I flourishing? And how does this all support my dream? So that is how to use this dynamic system. And we're coming down on time. I want to get some questions in, so I'm going to just go through into the next bit. So yeah, part three. I want to share with you guys around my trip because I've got some exciting projects coming up that you can potentially get involved with. So I am cycling from Alaska to Argentina, and the trip is going to be called Dreamweaver. I'll explain why now. So yeah, leaving 8th of July, I am going to embark on my journey cycling from Dead Horse, Alaska, right at the top, to Ushuaia, all the way at the bottom of Argentina, which is around 30,000 miles. And this is like my life dream. I've wanted this badly for like 10 years. Like, it's so close now that, I'm just stoked. So, yeah, this is a picture of me in Mexico at Christmas time 10 years ago. And yeah, I'm going to do it. Well, I did just a little bit before. Now I'm doing the whole lot. And I may even go to Africa as well. I'm going to see how I feel at the end. So this is very much a story of dreams. Now, I am looking to do something very special for this trip. I am going to be weaving a collective prayer for humanity and the dreams of humanity by lighting fires, a ceremony of fires throughout this trip, which each fire is going to be a prayer for humanity and a prayer for our dreams. The first fire is going to be next month at a Yoga in the Stars, which is my home base, and we're going to have a big launch event. And we are also going to light a fire at a festival in Cornwall called Paradise. But basically, this is one huge prayer. Like the world at the moment is in pretty tricky shape, and I believe in the power of prayer to make change in the world. I also believe in that every single person has a dream inherent within them, something that wants to come forth, something that wants to move through them, something that wants to be realized in this world, which is what this trip is all about. This isn't my trip. I want this to be everyone's trip, and I want everyone to come together and focus on their dreams and bring their dreams into reality, bring their dreams into something tangible, bring their dreams out of the ether into something that can actually be created on this plane for theirs and others' benefits. So Yeah, I'm going to be doing many, many different fire ceremonies all down the Americas, and you are all invited. I'm going to do this live because I'm going to get a Starlink, which is a mobile Elon Musk disc where I can connect to the internet from anywhere. And you're going to have the opportunity to come on to these ceremonial fires and pray and add to the collective prayer. I'm also going to get in touch with lots of different shamans and indigenous cultures as I go as well. So also, if it really calls to you, then we are also putting together a huge cycle container. We're going to cycle from Jimi Hendrix's memorial in Washington, Seattle, all the way down to Mount Shasta in North California. And my dream is to have 100 people on this cycle ride, and we're all gonna have a huge ritual in Mount Shasta. And again, just add to the prayer for humanity, add to the prayer for our dreams. So if you want to come and cycle with us, the very open invitation, just please do get in touch with me, and I can share some more about that journey. Now, also one of my other dreams is to build a clinic in the Gambia. This the cycle ride's been a 10-year journey. Dream. This has been a 12-year dream of mine that has not been realized yet, and I'm very, very stubborn. I will not give up on this. So I'm also going to be raising money to build this clinic. I have a charity called the Gambian Maternity Foundation. We take medical equipment to the Gambia, and we've had the plans drawn up for years. We've got the land secured from the Ministry of Health. It's all good to go. We just need like 25K to do it, which through this trip I feel will be a really achievable target. Um, so I'd love all of your support in this, and there's a few different ways if you feel called to support. And there is also a lot of benefit that can potentially come to you as a result of that. Now, I am setting up, I'm changing things of how I'm doing things so I can basically help lots of people on the road. So I'm going to be setting up Dreamweaver containers, coaching containers. So um, I'm currently building it all at the moment. I'll send you it through once it's all ready. But basically, I want, as well as living my dream, I want to help you achieve your dream as well. So there's going to be three different dream containers. The first one is going to be the dream circle. So we're going to have one call per month on the new moon. The second container is going to be the dream machine, where we're going to have calls on new moon and full moons. And then the third container is a dream weaver, where I'm going to coach you one to one on the realization of your dreams. So that's one way in which you can support, as well as support yourself and support the dream that you want to bring to life. And then there are going to be other ways. So yeah, first is join a Dreamweaver container. Second way to come is come to the launch event with Yoga in the Stars. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have lots of different yoga events, wellness events, music, food. It's going to be great, either in Leytonstone or Epping Forest. We're figuring that out as well. I'm going to have a Patreon. So if getting coached by me isn't quite what you're looking for, then I'm going to have a number of ways in which you can support the trip through something called Patreon and get exclusive insights and videos. And the last way is to come for a session with me or refer a friend. And for being on this webinar, I am offering a 33% discount for a session with me. I'm a holistic health and pain a holistic health expert and pain specialist. So if you're struggling with pain at the moment, or are struggling with your health, then or know anyone, then you can reach out and I'll be really happy to help you. So there is going to be the Dreamweaver webinar coming up, whereby I'm going to give you guys a little taster of what it is to create your dreams and give you my dream weaving process. So if there's a dream that you want to bring to life, or some sort of vision that you are looking to do or focus on, or something that you've always wanted to do but quite hasn't quite happened yet, then you can bring that to this webinar, and I'm going to share what I've learned from focusing on and following my dreams, and share that with you. And yeah, I mean, I'm on the path to become the dream medicine guy. Like this is my dream for myself, is to focus on dreams so much that my vocation is going to shift into helping people find their dreams because I believe that if everyone on this in this world is following their dreams, then we are going to live in a bloody good world because of that. So this is my bit to help that happen. Once that's all up, I'll let you guys know. It's going to be sometime in late June. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. I've done it again. Oh my God, it's 8:30. I thought this one would be a bit earlier, but yeah, if you need to go, then all cool. But if you want to stay around for some questions, then yeah, you're very welcome. So if anyone's got any questions, then please do um, ask away. Or maybe I've talked to you all to death. Any questions about any of the material that we've covered? Anything around stress or anything around the principles of Nourish to Flourish? Oh, you're very welcome, Carolyn. Very welcome. Very welcome. Any questions? Going once, going twice. Last chance. Ah. Okay, cool. Um, I'll take it. That's no. Oh, you're very welcome, Priz. That's all right. If you did want to catch up, then the recording will go out tomorrow. Oh yeah, Anna. Yeah. So yeah, that's fine if you arrived late. The presentation, I'm gonna send this the recording out to you tomorrow. It's gonna be like really easy to view. I think yeah, I'm gonna put it on a web page on a YouTube. It's gonna be YouTube. So yeah. So that'll be super easy. Juliana, you're very welcome. And yeah, look forward to actually talking with you actually sometime in the week. And yeah, we'll call that a wrap, guys. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on this Monday evening and spending this time with me. I hope this has been really just having my nourishing supper. But thank you. Yeah, no, happy to hear it, Jane. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, guys, and spending your evening with me. I hope it's been really helpful for you. And yeah, any questions, please feel free. You can send me an email as well, if so. So yeah, sending you lots of love and wishing you a lovely evening. Bye.